body. So tonight we are going to look at the problem with aging. We are going to look at activation, and we will answer the question, is activation the solution for aging? What do the experts say? And then we will look into your options now that you know what activation is. So let's get started. The problem with aging. No one likes aging, but it's a process of life. And LifeVantage, this company's multiple years ago asked, is declining health something that we simply need to accept as a part of getting older? And until the day that I was introduced to activation, I thought it probably is. My grandmother and her mother and all the generations before her, they had health concerns, and it was part of the aging process. And if we think about the aging process, from conception, when you have that cute little baby, when they start to progress and start to walk and run and explore the world, and then eventually go to high school and start their own jobs and have their lives, everything in life is geared towards independence and progression and autonomy. And then somewhere along the line, everything goes back into reverse. You become more dependent, things start to go south, and you experience the impact of aging. So when we look at the aging process, there are three major theories of aging, and the first one has to do with oxidative stress. That is your free radicals in your cells that cause damage to the cells. Then also dysfunctional mitochondria, which ultimately leads to an energy decline, and then your sirtuin activity that has everything to do with longevity. So if we first of all look at oxidative stress, if you have never heard of oxidative stress, it's a really big word, but it basically means, if you think about the analogy of leaving an apple on the counter, that oxygen causes damage to the apple, it turns brown, and that same thing happens in your cells as well. It happens when you are simply breathing, but then there's also a lot of other factors like GMO foods and insecticides and pesticides and Wi-Fi. All of those speed up the process. So when you have a look at the oxidative stress process, when you're a child, you have generally very low levels of oxidative stress, and then in your early 20s, I'm pretty sure you're going to feel like you are bulletproof, but you are going to have an increase in your oxidative stress. And when you get to 60 and 80, you can see it's a linear line where people have an increase in oxidative stress and they start to experience the effects of aging in their cells. There are all the arrows. Next slide. Okay. So oxidative stress occurs when you have an imbalance between the free radicals, the oxidative stress, and the antioxidants in your body. So what we're actually looking for is something to tip the scale, because with aging, the oxidative stress increase, but we need more antioxidants so we can tip that scale back. And towards the end of the presentation, we are going to have a look at what the answer is and how we can tip that scale back. Now, your oxidative stress, unfortunately, also negatively affects your mitochondria. So your mitochondria are basically the energy hubs in all of your cells, the little batteries. And as a result of the prolonged exposure to oxidative stress, our mitochondria become less effective. Over a period of time, they produce less energy. And when I talk about less energy, it is not just the physical energy that you have in the morning when you open your eyes. It is also the inherent energy of that cell to do its job. So if you think about your heart cell, your brain cells, they have thousands and thousands of mitochondria per cell, and if the mitochondria slow down, they're not working as effectively, but also the mitochondria that you do have don't work at full capacity, you are going to experience impaired cell function. So what are the mitochondria? What's their purpose? It is a very important part of the cell. As I mentioned, it makes up, it produces 95% of your energy. And it is important for your cells to survive. If your mitochondria shut down, then you are going to die. And if they stop working, the cell will stop within seconds. So what are the dangers of dysfunctional mitochondria? As I mentioned, you are going to have energy issues, but not just physical energy, also the energy of the cell to do its job. So you're going to have dysfunctional organs. It will increase your risk of dis-ease, which is not a great picture. And it unfortunately will have an impact to all of your organs, because the mitochondria are present in all of your organs. So your brain, reproductive organs, heart, every single system will be affected by your mitochondria. And then the third issue has everything to do with sirtuins. For those of you that have heard of David Sinclair has done a lot of research on sirtuins. So now sirtuins have everything to do with longevity, and sirtuins are the reason why a lot of people do intermittent fasting and caloric restriction, because ultimately it plays a massive role in protection against disease and deterioration, the whole aging process. Now, again, we do not make any claims to heal, cure, prevent, mitigate disease, but we can do a lot of things in order to slow down the aging process. So if you have a look at your sirtuin activity, it will increase your energy levels. It will have an impact on your DNA repair. It will promote healthy aging. It has a massive impact on regulating insulin, which has everything to do with blood sugar levels, brain function, your capacity to handle stress, and then also in regards to inflammation. There's a couple of things that you can do to naturally boost your sirtuins, like I mentioned, intermittent fasting, caloric restriction, cold showers, plunge pools, intermittent heat exposure, saunas, all of those things, exercise that also boosts your sirtuin levels. But ultimately, if you have a look at the aging process, and in order to have an effective boost in sirtuins, you need to sufficiently boost your sirtuin levels, and you also need to do it responsibly. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that just do caloric restriction, and they do caloric restriction, and then they do it at the cost of being nutritionally deficient. So there's a good way to do it, and then there's an amazing way, and that is through activating your sirtuin pathway. And we are going to talk about that. The bottom of this slide just explains that sirtuins are basically responsible for regulating all of your systems in your cells. And in the early 1900s, researchers have discovered that the sirtuin activity can be increased by a molecule called NAD. Now, many of you may have heard of the NAD. NAD basically help you to make your sirtuins. Sirtuins are the longevity genes. So it increases the cell signaling pathway that ultimately activate those sirtuins. It plays a crucial role in maintaining your DNA integrity. It ensures proper cell function to protect your body from aging. And then it is involved in electron transfers and regulation of biological pathways. Now, that is just a very scientific way to say you have an amazing body, and that mothership of yours need the mother in the cell, and that is basically the NAD that is going to guide all of the processes in the cell. So it is extremely important that we look after our NAD. So with aging, again, your NAD decline in function, in number. The less NAD you have, the less sirtuin activity you will have in your cells, and ultimately the more health issues you will have. So if we now know what the problem is with aging, we want to ask, is activation the solution? And for those of you who have never heard of activation, activation has to do with regulating your genes, switching on the genes that are really beneficial to aid in your health. And we are asking, can we switch on the process of making your own antioxidants, better mitochondria, more functional mitochondria, but then also more sirtuins and more functional sirtuin activity? And the answer is yes. Amazing news. And we are doing this through the activation of Nrf2. So Nrf2 is the antioxidant pathway. So if you can think back to that slide where I showed the balance, if you have excess free radicals, you need more antioxidants. And for years and years, we've been told you just need to eat more blueberries or more oranges. Unfortunately, that is not going to solve the problem for you, because when you take in antioxidants from food sources, it only works on a 1-to-1 ratio. But when you switch on the Nrf2 pathway, it is going to help your body to switch on endogenous antioxidants. That means body-made antioxidants. So it's not external, it's internal antioxidants. And those antioxidants are so much more powerful. So even if you have a look at these ingredients, don't think I can just go to the health shop and I can buy ashwagandha and I can swallow that with my green tea, and then I'm going to have milk thistle and bacopa, and tonight I'm going to put a little bit of turmeric in my food, because it's not going to have the same effect. There is a definite synergy working amongst these ingredients, and that is why the Nrf2 is so powerful. So as I mentioned, it's going to switch on the Nrf2 pathway, and that in result will help you to have better sleep, better energy, better clarity of your mind. It will have an impact on aches and pains. So overall cellular health is going to be improved. And there's a study that was done in the US that has shown that Nrf2 reduces oxidative stress by an average of 40% in 30 days. That is incredible. This is a study that a USA university has done. So as you can see before Nrf2 Protandim, this is the level of oxidative stress. It is absolutely wild. High levels of oxidative stress, and as you age, the more oxidative stress you will have. Then after Protandim, Nrf2 for 30 days, it was the green dots. And after 120 days, the pink dots. And in this study, after 120 days, they could not distinguish between the bloods of the 80-year-olds and the 20-year-olds. That is absolutely incredible. If you can say, I am 80, but my blood works look like I am a 20-year-old person. Think about the longevity and the quality of life that you're going to have. So on the left-hand side of this slide, it just explains what antioxidants do. It helps to give an extra electron to free radicals. And as I mentioned, eating blueberries and oranges, that is great for the nutritional value, but in terms of antioxidant value, it is unfortunately just not sufficient. Activating your endogenous antioxidants are going to be way more effective. Then Nrf1 is going to help you to make more mitochondria and more healthy mitochondria. And as you can see, the ingredients, L-carnitine, quercetin, alpha-lipoic acid, grape extract, and coenzyme Q10. Again, there's a synergy working amongst the ingredients, so it's going to be more effective than the sum of the parts. And what does the Nrf1 synergizer do? It's going to help you to build more mitochondria. It is going to increase your ATP, your cellular energy. So not just the energy that you have in the morning, but really the energy for your heart and your organs to do its job. It's going to support your mitochondrial biogenesis. That means building more mitochondria. And then it will also support your brain function, your cognitive performance. So that is really exciting. And then in terms of sirtuins, your NAD pathway, this has been formulated specifically to support your NAD, and it will significantly increase your NAD activity within 24 hours. The functional result that you're going to feel is you are going to feel way better energy. It will support your health. Mental clarity is something that a lot of people tell me that they experience, and it can also have an impact on your mood. So the NAD synergizer is going to increase the expression of the gene that guide the NAD pathway. It will boost your energy production, and then, as I mentioned, the sirtuin activity. So what do the experts say about all of this science? Because it's all based in science, and we want to make sure that it's just not me saying this. We want to make sure that there's really credible research behind this. In 2005, there was an ABC primetime investigative report in the US. It's very similar to a current affair. So they basically wanted to debunk the science of Nrf2 because someone said that potentially this is absolutely incredible, and they thought we need to test this and see for ourselves. What they have done is they sent in that reporter. The reporter took one of those Nrf2 tablets in front of the cameras for 30 days, and after 2 weeks, his oxidative stress was reduced by 45%. After 4 weeks, it was reduced by 70%. That is absolutely incredible. You can imagine what happened in the universities when they released that study. All of the universities came to the company and said, oh my goodness, we want to do research on your product. And that is why we currently have 31 peer-reviewed studies done by credible institutions in the US. The other study is the one that I've shown before. After 120 days, they could not distinguish between the bloods of the 80-year-olds and the 20-year-olds. So as you can see there, after protandem, the oxidative stress level significantly decreased. Then there's the study that has shown that your oxidative stress is reduced by 40% in just 30 days. This slide has a bar graph of what your genes look like. So you have a lot of genes, and these are beautiful genes. It's all in tune, but on the left-hand side, you have genes that are overexpressed, and then you have other genes that are underexpressed. When you take Nrf2, it is going to help you to level out all of your genes so that you can have the best possible health in every single cell of your body. This slide is absolutely significant. And then the University of Colorado has done another study where they have found that Nrf2 increased glutathione, that is your master antioxidant, by 300% in the cells tested. This was also in 120 days, absolutely incredible. Ohio State University, they have done a study, and that study was actually funded by the American Heart Association and published in their journal, the only natural product ever to be published in the American Heart Association journal. And they found that protandem is beneficial to prevent vessel blockage. So that is really significant if you think about heart health and when you age. Heart disease, unfortunately, is one of the primary killers when you age. So this is a really, really significant study. And then we have many more studies. This is the glutathione study. University of Texas said that Nrf2 is a guardian of health span and the gatekeeper of species longevity. It can protect against many age-related disease. That is massive. To me, taking my Nrf2 feels like I'm taking my medical insurance because this is the best possible thing that I know I can do to keep myself as healthy as possible. Washington State University has done a study in 2015 on Nrf2 as a whole, and they concluded that Nrf2 is likely to be the most important health promoting approach in the foreseeable future. It may become the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. That is massive. And then the National Institute on Aging has done a study where they tested resveratrol, fish oil, green tea, and curcumin, which is turmeric, and then protandem Nrf2. And they wanted to know, are there any natural ingredients to prolong median lifespan? And what they have found that protandem is the only nutritional supplement tested that has been proven to increase the median survival in mice, thus delaying the aging process. It has the potential to extend lifespan and delay disease and dysfunction. Not my words. You make this choice. This is a list of all the independent universities and institutions that have done the studies. Go back to the person that invited you. We can hook you up with some of these studies. It is really credible universities, like you have seen, Harvard, Kentucky, University of Florida, LSU. All of these people have done studies and they found positive benefits. You can also go to PubMed. PubMed is the US government medical library. So that's where doctors go to find their research. 26 of the 31 studies are published on PubMed. That is really significant. They have studies on Nrf2 as the brand name Protandim. Often you will go into PubMed and you will see there's a study on green tea or on turmeric, but not often does PubMed publish a specific brand name, and we have those brand name studies. That is absolutely incredible. This is another study done on Nrf2, which says Nrf1 is an indispensable redox determining factor for mitochondrial homeostasis. In normal language, redox has everything to do with oxidative stress. So it basically just means that Nrf2 is a very important factor for keeping your mitochondria, those energy batteries in your cells, working properly. What does science say about NAD? I already told you about Davidson Lee. And there is an explosion of studies on NAD and longevity in the medical world at the moment. This study says that NAD levels decline during the aging process and may be an Achilles heel, causing defects in nuclear and mitochondrial functions and resulting in many age-associated pathologies. Restoring your NAD by supplementing NAD intermediates can dramatically ameliorate these age-associated functional defects, counteracting many diseases of aging, including neurodegenerative diseases. This is absolutely incredible. This is something that as a medical professional, I highly recommend that you have a look at the science and consider this for you and everyone that you know. This is another study stating that sirtuins is a promising target in slowing down the aging process. And here's a screenshot of PubMed and NAD. NAD is not a new thing. We have 70,000 studies on NAD and the impact of NAD on health. Time magazine did an interview with Davidson Lee. So he's the NAD guru, and he said NAD is the closest we've gotten to the fountain of youth. It is one of the most important molecules for life to exist, and without it, you will be dead in 30 seconds. Now, you have the opportunity to drink from this fountain of youth by taking the Nrf2, the Nrf1, and the NAD. And this is a slide to show the synergy. So there's a synergy amongst the ingredients of the Nrf2, amongst the ingredients of the Nrf1 on its own, and then the NAD. But when you mix all three of those, it is absolutely incredible. As you can see, there's a significant increase in the upregulation of those good genes, and that is going to translate into really positive benefits for your health. So the company LifeVantage, a little bit about them. Who are they? They are a USA-based health company, and they are absolutely the leaders in activation. Activation has everything to do with regulating your genes. So we are not talking supplements. When we're thinking about supplements, we are addressing a deficit. That's not what we do with Nrf2, Nrf1, and NAD. We are activating your body to give you the best performance. And Nrf2 was not an overnight product. It was 40 years of science and multiple trials to get the absolute best and most potent blend of herbs to activate that Nrf2 pathway. And the company continues to produce products that is in this category of activation. We just recently launched a collagen activator. If you mix the Nrf2 and the collagen, that is one amazing, beautiful result. Go back to the person that invited you. We're going to do another webinar. So tonight is not, the focus is not collagen, but I can tell you activation is an absolute game changer. The company is traded on the NASDAQ. It's a safe business. We have been making these products for the last 20 years with more than $2.5 billion in products that we have sold. These products are approved by the Banned Substances Control Group. They are listed by the TGA in Australia. They are compliant with the FDA. They are registered with the Direct Selling Association. They are triple tested for heavy metals with the NSF. So, I mean, what more do you want? You just need to say yes. So your options, now that you know how important it is to activate your cells with Nrf2, Nrf1, and NAD, what will you do? We have the perfect solution for you. You can get this amazing stack for 225 Australian dollars or 290 New Zealand dollars. This is an amazing health investment that you can make for yourself. Please go back to the person that invited you. We'll be more than happy to hook you up. Even with testimonials, we've got groups with thousands and thousands of people talking about the results they had with the activators. Thank you so much for being on here tonight and allowing me to share this incredible information with you. Please reach out if you have any questions. We are here to support you and help all of you to have the best possible health. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a good evening.